2012 through 2018 Ford Focus, battery replacement and battery cable replacement. While you're in here, I would go ahead and replace this fuse here. Here's the part number. I'll show you later. The reason for replacing this battery is it fails the load test, and the cables are hard, they're full of corrosion that should be flexible, and it is causing an electrical malfunction with the TCM. If you have trouble code P0702, that may be why your TCM is not acting properly. This is an indication that the battery posts on the battery itself are leaking, right here, this corrosion. If your negative battery is leaking as well, and has caused corrosion on the terminal, you may end up needing the connector for the battery monitor sensor right here. Here's the connector. There's the part number. Pause it. Okay. I do have a video titled How to Repair Automotive Wiring that'll assist you in replacing the connector. Let's get going here. This clamp on the airbox is going to be either a 7mm or 8mm head. This one's a 7. Okay, you have this flap right here, pull it out. You have this lower flap, get your nail under it, your finger, pop it off like that. You have these breather tubes here. Push in on the blue thing and it'll release it and you pull it out. And on this one you have a tang, push it the other way and you'll be able to pull back on the connector here. Next, you have a mass airflow sensor connector. Pull up on the red tang and squeeze the release tab right there and pull up. Pull this retainer out right here. You may use an interior trim tool to pop this out if you have to. Pull the airbox out next. It's held in with grommets. First, I'm going to start here. Okay. If your hose is stuck on here, you can get a small pry bar and just gently push up on it. Do not put too much pressure on this intake manifold, you'll crack it. But yeah, that came right off for me. Reach right here on this leg of the airbox, pull up out of the grommet. Okay. Grab over here, pull up out of that grommet. Next, grab right here like this and pull out. Next, let's focus our attention on the battery terminals here. You're going to want to loosen it. This one's already loose. However, if you notice here, and never mind, I thought it was stuck. Let me show you what to do if it's stuck. This here is a battery terminal puller, also known as a wiper arm puller. Run this knob out all the way. Turn this counterclockwise as far as you can to get this out. Put the tool around the stuck terminal. Turn the knob clockwise until it's snug up against the terminal. This knob right here. And then rotate this right here clockwise. And as you do that, as long as this is tight against the terminal, this will push down on the inner shaft here and pull the terminal up. That's how you do that. Grab firmly here. With my left hand, I pulled outward slightly on the battery box here while I was pulling upward, and it slid right out. Next, remove these two 10mm nuts, fastening the battery hold down. Okay, 1, don't drop these, and 2. This one has a tang on this side. It kind of goes into a provision right here. Okay, next I'm going to go ahead and get the battery slid back. Get to the negative terminal right here. 10mm pinch fastener right here. Loosen that. patient with it and pull up as you rotate. There you go. Has a lot of corrosion on it, but I'll be replacing both cables today. You'll want to disconnect this battery monitor sensor right here. Squeeze down on this release and pull outwards. If your connector is disintegrated or damaged due to corrosion, you will need to replace it. I gave you the part number earlier. Alright, next, if you're replacing the cable here, go ahead and remove your 13mm fastener, which is holding the ground strap cable here to the body. Back it out, it's 13mm. Notice the tang here goes into this provision on the body here. This wouldn't be a bad point to go ahead and take a little bit of paint off for the ground strap contacts to improve the ground quality. You can put some electrical grease on it as well. Next, I'm going to remove the battery from the vehicle and return it to the parts department for a core. Wow, you're so strong! And it's gone. If the purpose of you watching this video is to learn how to replace the battery, this is about all you'll need here. However, if you want to replace the positive battery cable, go ahead and hang on here for a little longer. Okay, you got to remove this cover here. In order to do that, I have a little cat claw interior trim tool. I'm going to pull the retainers out for the harness. You see where that zip tie is right there? Just reach up behind there, pull out. Okay. There's another one right here. And there's also two more along the side that you need to pull out. Okay. Next, if you look along the perimeter of this cover here, you will see these retainers that you need to pop out. This is a good example of one. In order to release those, I have a 90-degree pick. I'm going to get underneath the back of it and pull up on the cover and pull it over that little button there. Give you an example on one here. Pull up and over. You're going to need to do that in progression. Just go all the way around and find them. Succession, not progression. Alright guys, I have the last one released here, and that will fully open up the panel here. This fuse at the end is the one I mentioned replacing, the one all the way at the end toward the side of the vehicle here. It is held on with two 8mm nuts and has washers behind the nuts, so you just pull those off and replace it. This fuse likes to develop internal cracks and drop voltage, and that'll cause all sorts of electrical issues, including a no start. Anyway, with that aside, remove this 13mm nut right here. Stick the nylon end. You see the nylon in there? Make sure it goes in like that. Alright, so while I'm in here, I'm doing the fuse for the customer, and it appears I was wrong about there being little washers behind there. Certain year models may have that, but not this one. The goes on the outside of the fuse here, just like that. Make sure you line it where the numbers are pointing up the correct way, not upside down, otherwise you won't be able to sleep at night. Okay, that fuse is installed. Next, you can go ahead and remove the wire. You can cut it about right here for the battery cable here. You'll need to remove that zip tie as well. Zip tie out. Snip. You can temporarily situate your new cable in place here to just decide where you want to cut the wire. I'm going to cut mine about right here. Right about there. Take this off and cut it. Utilizing a pair of wire strippers, I'm going to pull the insulation off of the end of the wire here, and I'm going to do the same thing on that white wire. Expose the copper. There you go. And I also use my fingertips to twist the wires together to make it a firm piece so the wires aren't going to spread out when I put them in the splice. Once again, do that on both ends. I'm going to get some heat shrink tubing here, slide it down the wire, get that ready to go up. It appears I need to trim some off. I'm going to cut about 1/3 of that off there so it'll fit. There we go. Now once we've completed the wiring repair here, I'm going to slide this over top and melt it, or well, shrink it. I'll show you. Utilizing a pair of non-insulated wire crimpers here, I went ahead and pressed the handles together and crimped down the terminal here, the splice I mean, onto the wire. And I'm going to repeat that on the other side. You can give it a little tug test if you'd like. Make sure it doesn't fall apart, and it does not. Take your heat shrink tubing, slide it over, cover up any bare wires, and you can get a lighter or a heat gun and melt this down. Just spread the heat evenly across as you go, and when you see glue come out of the sides, you know it's done. Okay, I'm going to get you set up here. Alright, here we go. Just evenly spread the heat. Don't keep it in one spot too long, you may burn the wire. Okay. That should be good enough there. Okay, I've got the cable up in here. I'm going to go ahead and tighten that 13mm nut down. Got that nut snug down there. I'm going to pop this together. In theory, I need both hands for that. Just kind of squeeze it until that pops together there. Okay, just all the way around. I popped and they went together all the way around. Next, go ahead and pop your retainers back on here. It appears a couple of mine are broken. They are holding in good enough. Took a little bit of the paint off where the ground goes. Inserted the tang in here first. Lined this up. Started the bolt in here. Tighten that down. Okay, that's good and tight. Got that connected up there, battery monitoring sensor. Get this out of the way, get the battery ready to go in. Don't forget to remove your terminal covers if you have them on your new battery. This one has one on the negative as well. Just pull up on that. Got the negative on there, just get it about that orientation here. Go ahead and snug down on it with a 10mm. Okay. Next you can get your battery all the way in, just like that. Get these wires into this provision here, and the cable if you can. You can get this rear battery cover back on here. That will hold the cable down in here. Just pop the retainers in. Okay, that's not going anywhere. Okay, so you get this cover here on the battery tray. Get lined up there. Push outward if you need to on the battery tray itself. Get this in. Make sure the tings are lined up. See? Push down. Likewise on the other side, and that's together. So now you can go ahead and bring her to life. Alright, if you have the basic radio without the touch screen, I recommend leaving this connected for 10 seconds. And it's already been about 10 seconds. Unhook it for about 10 seconds, and then reconnect it after 10 seconds. Otherwise, your radio, you might not be able to set the time. It'll just be frozen. That happens more times than not. Okay. Alright, now you can snug this down. I do that on every clutch job. If it doesn't have the touchscreen radio, I just do that 10-second rule there. Alright, so we get the battery hold down here. The little notch on this end is going to go in, kind of pivot it into the hole there where the notch goes. Get it in on the other side. Get your two nuts. Run them down. Get your cover for the battery. Slide this notch into the provision on the rear cover. Push down. Alright, now you're ready for the air box. See if I can do this with one hand here. These breather hoses out of the way. Get this flap around here, just like that. Make sure it's not catching on the connector for the purge valve there. I pushed left and got it down a little further. Get this on the throttle body. Alright, done. This is lined up with the grommet down there, just push down. Okay, pull up a little bit, make sure it's not going to fall out, and it's not. The lower flap in, and the upper flap. There you are. All right, tighten up your clamp and you are good to go. Let me reset the battery monitor too. You should be able to reset the battery monitor with a decent quality scan tool, maybe not the cheapest one. If you're not sure how to set the time and date, let me go ahead and show you here. Menu, down to clock settings, and here's time and date. Go ahead and set it to what you want. This is Ford IDS, you probably won't have this. Generally speaking though, if you go under body and or electrical, you'll see something called BMS reset. Go ahead and do that, run through there. Going to clear out all these codes here. The battery voltage issue did cause an issue with the TCM, so I'm clearing those codes out. All clear. Hope this helps you out. If it does, please consider hitting that button like that and subscribing. I have dozens of other Focus videos, particularly to help with your transmission, dual clutch automatic. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.